see.
Absolutely.
One more game from today to talk about. The late game was Tunisia 0, Japan 4 at the most beautiful stadium location in sports, arguably, the Monterrey Stadium, one with the mountain behind it. Looking good, Monterrey. This was also the 1,000th match in World Cup history. So many records today. Goals, matches.
What, of this World Cup or in history?
Why not both?
Also, the number of minutes that Hervé Renard has been in charge of Tunisia, 1,000?
Far less.
That feels like an overestimation.
Renard getting 90 minutes at this tournament, it would seem, or thereabouts.
Did we see him coach? Like, I told you during the game that it looked like he was an NPC. And if you now told me that actually they just hired a poster of him that they just put up there and it stood there like a cardboard cutout, because it was mostly him being very stoic with furrowed brow surveying his team. I don't know how much adjusting he was doing to his team.
Or like they edited it in, so FIFA were like, they had like a catalogue. We can offer you Hervé Renard, Carlos Queiroz.
Well, usually he fills out his lovely resplendent white shirt a bit better than he does. What if it was one of those Elon Tesla robots, actually?
Right.
Just stoically standing, not doing anything, as Renard was in this game.
Figures.
I will say, though, Taylor, I'm going to say firing Sabri Lamouchi might not have been the answer to Tunisia's problems.
You think?
Wow. Yeah, not so much. And I said last night, I was really interested to see what kind of impact he could have. And my assumption was that if you have such a limited window as he does, you really focus on defensive stability and that defensive foundation, and you defend tooth and nail. And then if you're able to make something happen, that's great. That is what I expected. And instead, they were sort of more of a maybe we defend. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe we attack. I don't know. Hannibal can do whatever he wants. You can do whatever you want. It felt very, I know I'm not going to be able to make a big impact here. But I'm going to do my best. And instead what it was just a outright slaughter. This was one of the biggest beatdowns I think we've had. I think it could have been worse. I think Japan happily took their foot off the gas in the second half and even then still scored some goals. I thought Tunisia were too open, too sloppy. And then the biggest thing that told me that they just hadn't had the level of instruction, I think, is so often in the first half when they do have possession, their attacking rotations are not rotations. Again, it felt like NPCs. It was like, I will check away, and now I will go two. Now I will check away, and now I will go two. And it was just sort of like, it never felt coordinated. It felt like the worst type of coordinated, which is that they were all doing the same thing and expecting it to be different. Let's not go down that rabbit hole again. But I think in this case, it just ended up being a lot of slow possession, not really being able to do anything with it. And then once the Japanese got their defensive setup in place, which I think is fascinating and really effective, they just would win the ball back and go the other way. And then it would be a transition back for Tunisia whenever they could transition. And sometimes they could not.
Yeah, we've seen bigger beatdowns at this tournament, but I thought this was the most one-sided game where it just felt like Japan in the second half were going through the motions because Tunisia had absolutely nothing to offer in this match. They're probably on balance. I think they're the poorest team we've seen at this tournament so far. Maybe not on paper, like Curacao, Haiti, whatever. On paper, I'm sure Transfer Market has their squad value is lower than Tunisia, but in terms of the two games they've played, they've been the poorest team that I've seen so far. And that's not to take away from Japan. They were excellent in this match. Really impressed by the control they had of the game on both sides of the ball. Really impressed by their fluidity in the forward in the final third in the forward line. There was a lot of rotation between Ueda as the mobile centre forward and Junior Ito and Kamada as the kind of roaming tens behind them. And then on the right side, we were talking about this, Taylor, in the first half, Doan and Ito seem to be taking it in turns to be sort of like the width provider. That rotation would then buy them a yard to get away from the Tunisian defender, made it very easy for them to play in between the lines. So lots of the stuff that Japan were doing would have been a challenge for anyone in this match. But Tunisia, they had no answers in the first half, and then in the second half, I thought they gave up. I really thought it was a dreadful performance by them.
I will say there was parity on the sidelines in terms of how well dressed the coaches were.
Moriyasu had the kind of waistcoat.
With the waistcoat, it looked very sharp, and Hervé Renard with his classic white shirt, although not quite as good as usual. We have covered that, but at least we had some fits.
I love a stoic coach when you score that early, because it's the 4th minute when they get the lead and it just cuts to him and he's just giving them the keep your heads, make sure we're thinking. And they did, to the tune of attacking a whole bunch more and nearly getting more goals. Because there's the Dylan Brown, I think it is, who has the sliding save to put it out for a corner when it felt for all the world like it was going to be 2-0 inside the first 9 minutes. That from that corner is the save that, for people who haven't seen, like, if this were a better game, would be maybe save of the tournament for how it is kept off. It's like this much of the ball doesn't cross the line.
And the look on his face on the free throw is like, this has gone in.
Yes. But it didn't. No. But I think that was where it started to feel like, oh, this could get really bad really quickly. And then it's 2-0 around the 31st, I believe. And then it just looked like there was no way back for Tunisia. Even when they were getting like a shot here or some good possession there, it still always felt like it was going to take at least like 5 more times of that for something to happen. And those times were very few and far between.
Yeah. Graham, we expected Japan to be a force at this tournament. Has their stock gone up?
I mean, it has to after 4-0 win at a World Cup. I just think Tunisia were so poor that I don't really know what to take from this game from a Japanese perspective. But yes, it seems like they built on what we saw from them in the Netherlands match, where they have that toggle that maybe not many other teams have, where they can sit in their low defensive block, although they didn't have to do it in this game. But they can also control with the ball. They can play in quick transition. So it feels like they've got multiple different looks. And in a tournament where you're going to face different tactical matchups going through the knockout rounds, that could be a real strength for them.
I'd say they're in my top like 4 to 5 teams for sure. The Dutch are as well. I think England remains top. England remains the team that I think is going to win the whole thing. But I think, and I agree with Graham, like I don't think Tunisia caused them any problems really, or really like made them uncomfortable in any way. I think the Dutch did that much more so in the first game, but I think we still saw the way the Japanese can move players around and seem to understand, like with very good read of the game, who needs to go where, who needs to shift inside. And it's so automatic compared to kind of how laborious it was with their opponents on the evening. But as I said earlier, though, then you have that defensive shape, which I would like say is like a 5-2-2-1. I was saying earlier, it's like a back 5 and then a pentagon in front of them. But they do such a good job of keeping their relationships tight and their spacing together that it's really difficult to get through that. And if you have 5 players central with a line behind them, you are automatically going to be funneled wide. And then you still have cover there where one can slide out and the wing back can slide out. And now you've got 2v1 defensively or 2v2 with other cover there. And the way it can move and shift and stretch, but still never really break or like present that many holes. Thus far, we've seen, I guess, the Dutch find a way through, and the Dutch have been excellent. I think the Sweden game will be fascinating because I don't know if Japan will want the ball in that one because they don't need a result. I'm sure they would like the win, but a draw gives them 5 points. That's good for second, right? Yeah. So but they probably would love to win the group if they can. So it will also be interesting if they are trying to be possession dominant and take the game to Sweden again, and that might give us an even better read on them. I think if they go in there and win that game as comfortably as they've won this game, this feels like a tournament where they're going pretty far.
Indeed. Tunisia not going very far. They are officially eliminated with this one. Sweden are in third in Group F. And then Netherlands and Japan both on 4 points. Both with an even record. Both with the same goal difference. And they drew each other. So I guess the next different is goals scored, I guess.
Or kits. Which team has the best kits, I believe.
Who's that?
It's Japan.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
I sided with you all. I know some of the commentators disagree. It's the slightly wrong shade of orange.
It's not the right orange. It's not Dutch orange. It's highlighter orange.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Always traditionally a great kit, the Dutch. But